Ladies and gentlemen, there is a story within all of us, a journey filled with struggles, heartbreaks, and triumphs. We often wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect life before we allow ourselves to truly live. But let me ask you today, what if that perfect moment never comes? Will you keep waiting, or will you decide to embrace life as it is with all its imperfections? I have learned that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. Life is unpredictable. It will not always give us what we want, but it will give us what we need. And sometimes the greatest blessings come disguised as challenges. When I found myself confined to a wheelchair, society told me my life was over. But I chose to redefine life on my own terms. I chose to embrace my reality, to stop waiting for perfection, and to start creating my own version of happiness. Because happiness is not something you find, it is something you create. So today, I urge you, stop waiting for the perfect life. Stop waiting for the day when everything is just right before you take action. Life is happening now. It is messy, unpredictable, and beautiful all at once. The only way to truly live is to accept it as it is and make the most of it. You don't need to be perfect to inspire others. You don't need to have it all figured out to make a difference. All you need is the courage to take the first step, to turn your pain into power and your struggles into strength. Remember, you are not defined by what happens to you. You are defined by how you rise after you fall. So rise. Embrace life and stop waiting for a perfect moment that may never come. Stop waiting for the perfect life. Life will never be perfect, but that shouldn't stop you from living fully and chasing your dreams. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. Hardships will come, but how you respond to them determines your strength and happiness. Embrace your reality. Instead of focusing on what you have lost, focus on what you still have and what you can create. Happiness is something you create. Happiness doesn't come from external perfection, but from within, by accepting and making the best of your circumstances. Your story can inspire others. You don't have to be perfect to make a difference. Your resilience and courage can inspire those around you. Rise and take action now. Don't wait for the right time. Life is happening now, and the best way to move forward is to take the first step. Life is a journey filled with uncertainties, challenges, and unexpected turns. Yet, so many of us hesitate to embrace it fully because we are waiting for everything to be perfect. We tell ourselves that once we achieve a certain goal, find the right opportunity, or reach an ideal state, only then will we start living. But the reality is, waiting for perfection is an illusion that keeps us trapped in fear and inaction. There will never be a perfect moment, and the sooner we understand this, the sooner we can free ourselves from the limitations we impose on our own happiness. Perfection is a moving target. No matter how much we achieve, there will always be something more to chase. People often delay their dreams, passions, and even happiness because they believe they are not ready. They wait for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect version of themselves before they step forward. But life does not wait for anyone. Time continues to move, and every moment spent waiting is a moment lost. The truth is, if we continue to postpone our dreams in the pursuit of perfection, we will spend our entire lives preparing for something that may never come. Fear plays a significant role in this cycle of waiting. The fear of failure, rejection, or not being good enough holds us back. We believe that if we wait long enough, we will become better, stronger, or more prepared, and only then will we succeed. But the most successful people in the world did not wait for perfection before they started. They began their journeys with flaws, with uncertainty, and with doubts. What set them apart was their willingness to take action despite the imperfections. Growth happens through experience, not through waiting. The more we delay, the more opportunities we let slip away. Society reinforces the idea that we must have everything figured out before we take a step forward. We are conditioned to believe that mistakes are failures, that setbacks are signs of weakness, and that uncertainty means we are not ready. But in reality, mistakes are lessons, setbacks are opportunities for growth, and uncertainty is a natural part of every journey. No one has it all figured out from the start. Waiting for everything to be perfect is simply an excuse that keeps us in our comfort zones. The longer we wait, the harder it becomes to break free from the fear of imperfection. We often compare ourselves to others who seem to have it all together, believing that their success came from having a perfect plan or a flawless journey. But what we see is only the highlight reel of their lives. Behind every success story is a series of struggles, failures, and moments of doubt. The difference is, they did not let those moments stop them. They chose to move forward despite their fears, and that is what made all the difference. Perfectionism also leads to self-doubt. When we set impossible standards for ourselves, we create a cycle of disappointment and frustration. We convince ourselves that we are not good enough because we don't meet our unrealistic expectations. This mindset prevents us from recognizing our progress and celebrating our achievements. Instead of appreciating how far we've come, we focus on what is missing. This constant pursuit of an unattainable ideal robs us of joy and fulfillment. The irony is that life's most beautiful moments often come from imperfections. Some of the best relationships are formed through unexpected connections. The most rewarding careers come from unplanned opportunities. And the most profound growth happens in times of struggle. If we are constantly waiting for perfection, we miss out on these experiences. We deny ourselves the chance to learn, to evolve, and to truly live. Pain is an inevitable part of life. No matter who we are, where we come from, or what we do, we all experience pain in different forms. It may come from loss, failure, rejection, or unexpected circumstances that shake the foundation of our lives. There are moments when pain feels overwhelming, like a weight too heavy to carry. It can feel unfair, as though life has singled us out for suffering while others seem to move forward with ease. But the truth is, pain itself is not what defines our lives. It is how we choose to respond to it that truly shapes our journey. Suffering is not the direct result of pain, but rather a choice we make in how we perceive and internalize it. Many people experience pain and allow it to consume them, holding onto it for years, letting it dictate their happiness and their ability to move forward. They replay painful moments in their minds, allowing those memories to control their present and their future. They focus on what they have lost instead of what they still have, and in doing so, they keep themselves trapped in suffering long after the initial pain has passed. There are others who experience the same kind of pain but refuse to let it define them. They acknowledge the hurt, but they do not let it take over their lives. They find ways to heal, to grow, and to transform their pain into strength. They understand that while pain is something we cannot always avoid, suffering is a state of mind that we have control over. It is a choice to let pain break us or build us. The difference between suffering and resilience lies in our perspective and our willingness to take control of our own healing. The human mind is powerful. When we tell ourselves that we are victims of our pain, that life is unfair, and that we are powerless, we reinforce our suffering. But when we choose to see pain as a lesson, an opportunity for growth, and a chance to become stronger, we shift our mindset. Pain no longer becomes a burden, but a tool for transformation. We stop asking, why me? And instead ask, what can I learn from this? This change in perspective is what separates those who remain stuck in suffering from those who rise above their struggles. Pain often forces us to confront our deepest fears and insecurities. It exposes our vulnerabilities and pushes us out of our comfort zones. But growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the moments when we are forced to face our struggles head on. Some of the most inspiring individuals in the world have emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined. Their pain became the foundation for their purpose. They refused to let suffering define them, and instead they used their experiences to inspire and uplift others. Holding on to pain for too long only prolongs suffering. Many people become attached to their pain because it becomes familiar, something they identify with. They relive past hurts, hold on to resentment, and allow their pain to dictate their emotions and actions. But healing begins when we decide to let go. It is not about forgetting what happened, but about releasing the power it has over us. It is about choosing to no longer be imprisoned by something that cannot be changed. The past cannot be rewritten, but our future is still unwritten, and we have the ability to shape it in a way that is not defined by pain. Finding meaning in pain is one of the most powerful ways to overcome suffering. When we use our experiences to help others, to create something meaningful, or to grow as individuals, we reclaim control over our pain. It no longer becomes something that holds us back, but something that propels us forward. When we realize that our struggles can serve a greater purpose, we stop seeing pain as a punishment and start seeing it as a tool for transformation. Life will always bring challenges, and pain will always be a part of the human experience. But the power to overcome suffering lies within us. We can choose to dwell in our pain, or we can choose to rise above it. We can choose to let pain consume us, or we can choose to use it as fuel for our growth. The choice is ours, and it is a choice we must make every single day. Life does not always unfold the way we expect it to. There are moments when everything seems to fall apart, when the dreams we once had no longer seem possible, and when the reality in front of us is vastly different from what we had imagined. In these moments, it is easy to feel defeated, to resist what life has given us, and to dwell on what could have been. But the truth is, no amount of regret or resistance can change the present. The only way to move forward is to embrace reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. When we resist reality, we create unnecessary suffering for ourselves. We compare our lives to an imaginary version of how things should have been. And in doing so, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to find happiness in the present. We dwell on what we have lost, on what we no longer have control over, and on the unfairness of our circumstances. This resistance does not change anything. It only keeps us stuck in a cycle of frustration and pain. But the moment we shift our perspective and accept our reality, we take back our power. We stop wasting energy on things we cannot change, and instead focus on what we can do with what we have. Embracing reality does not mean giving up or settling for less. It means recognizing that life is unpredictable and that we have the ability to adapt, to grow, and to create something meaningful, even in the face of adversity. It means acknowledging our pain without letting it define us, accepting our circumstances without becoming a victim to them, and choosing to move forward despite the challenges we face. True strength is not found in fighting against reality, but in learning how to work with it. Many people wait for life to go back to the way it was before a hardship, believing that only then will they be happy again. They hold on to the past, longing for things to return to a time when they felt in control. But life is constantly changing, and the past is just that, the past. Clinging to what is gone only prevents us from seeing the opportunities that exist in the present. Sometimes the most difficult moments in life push us toward new beginnings we never expected. What seems like an ending may actually be the start of something greater, but we can only see that if we stop looking back and start embracing what is in front of us. When we accept our reality, we give ourselves permission to find happiness within it. We realize that happiness is not something that comes from external circumstances, aligning perfectly, but from within us. It is not about waiting for everything to be ideal. It is about making peace with where we are and making the most of what we have. Some of the most inspiring people are not those who have had easy lives, but those who have faced great challenges and still found a way to create joy, meaning, and success despite them. Perspective is everything. The way we see our reality determines how we experience life. Two people can go through the same situation and have completely different reactions. One may see it as a disaster, while the other sees it as an opportunity for growth. The difference is in mindset. When we stop resisting and start embracing what is, we shift from being powerless to being empowered. We stop focusing on what we lack and start recognizing what we still have. We stop asking why life is unfair and start asking what we can do to make the best of our circumstances. There is beauty in imperfection, in unpredictability, and in the unexpected turns that life takes. Sometimes the things we think are breaking us are actually shaping us into who we are meant to be. The most resilient people are not those who never face hardship, but those who faced it, accepted it, and found a way to move forward. They did not wait for life to be perfect before they started living again. They embraced their reality, adapted, and built something meaningful from it. It is not easy to accept reality, especially when it brings pain, disappointment, or loss. But the sooner we embrace what is, the sooner we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. When we stop wishing for a different past and start embracing the present, we give ourselves the chance to create a future that is even better than what we once imagined. Happiness is something we all seek, yet so many people spend their entire lives searching for it in the wrong places. We are often led to believe that happiness is something external, something that can be found once we achieve a certain goal, acquire a certain possession, or reach a specific milestone. We tell ourselves that once we have the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect life, then we will finally be happy. But this way of thinking keeps happiness always out of reach as something that exists in the future rather than in the present. The truth is, happiness is not something we find, it is something we create. People often look at others who seem happy and assume that their happiness comes from having everything in place. They believe that those who are happy have fewer problems, better circumstances, or an easier life. But happiness is not the absence of problems. It is the ability to find joy despite them. It is not about waiting for everything to be perfect, but about making the decision to appreciate and embrace life as it is. No matter how much we achieve, if we are always looking for happiness outside of ourselves, we will never be truly satisfied. Happiness is a mindset, a way of seeing the world. Two people can be in the exact same situation and yet experience it completely differently. One person may focus on what is missing, what is unfair, and what they wish were different, while the other chooses to focus on what is still beautiful, what they are grateful for, and what opportunities exist, even in difficult times. The difference is not in their circumstances, but in their perspective. When we realize that happiness is a choice rather than a destination, we stop searching for it and start creating it in our daily lives. There are people who have everything, wealth, success, recognition, yet they still feel empty. And there are those who have very little but radiate joy and contentment. The difference lies in where they believe happiness comes from. Those who constantly chase external validation will always feel like something is missing. No matter how much they gain, it will never be enough because they have tied their happiness to something outside of themselves. But those who understand that happiness is an internal state do not need perfect conditions to feel fulfilled. They create happiness from within, regardless of their circumstances.